Alright, welcome back. Let's just jump right back into this cutscene.
Enslave your kind, Desmond. Is this not why you fight? Is this not why you came here? To ensure more than just your race's future, but its freedom?
What future? What freedom? Billions dead and the whole cycle begun anew? This world has known nothing but heartache and horror since we left it.
Our gift to them, and you'd see it all return.
Enough!
You must not do this.
Whatever Juno's planning, however terrible it might seem today, we'll find a way to stop it. But the alternative, what you want, there's no hope there.
If you free her, you'll be destroyed.
It will happen in an instant. There will be no pain.
You mustn't.
It's done, Minerva. The decision's made.
Then the consequences of this mistake are yours to live and die with.
You need to go. All of you. Now. Get as far away from here as you can.
Come with us. We'll find another way.
There isn't time.
Son.
You know it's true. It's already started. I need to do this now. So go. Go!
It's some sort of global aurora borealis. Never seen anything like this before. Eyewitnesses describe electrical storms and erratic displays of unusual weather. Residents are being asked to remain inside and wait for geological surveys are now reporting seismic activity throughout the Ring of Fire. Northeastern Canada is said to be experiencing the largest on record. Satellites and transformers are failing as the flare increases in intensity. Worldwide reports of blackouts seems to be receding. Residual seismic and volcanic activity is being reported, but nothing approaching earlier levels. Obviously, it will be a while before experts are able to assess the full extent of the damage caused by today's event. But it appears the worst is behind us. We'll be sure to bring you more as this story develops.
It is done. The world is saved. You played your part well, Desmond. But now it's time that I played mine.
Okay. I think now is a decent time for me to start talking, I guess. I'm assuming there's going to be more cutscenes. This part ended up being kind of awkward. I don't know if I'm going to fuse this into one part or if make this its own standalone part or not. However, there's a few things here that are interesting. So, one, Connor. When Connor gets his thing and she talks to Juno one last time and she says to hide the key where no one else can find it and blah blah blah, and Connor's just like, it's not enough. This shit was a huge failure. What the fuck is going on? I like the pushback there because Connor, I feel like it's not that I think he saw through Juno's bullshit, but it's definitely, you can tell that Juno is manipulating him by that point. I just wish the game's writing wasn't so like haphazardly constructed, because you could have had some nice like build-up of Juno being kind of sketchy and making promises that don't really come true, and Connor questioning the entirety of his thing just for her assistance for a future that he's never going to see, and then have it revealed that it's all part of her master plan to essentially re-enslave the human race, which they haven't really brought up yet, but it does come up. Essentially that they re-enslave the human race because she wants to be back to being king. Either that or to just kill all of the humans. Minerva kind of talks about it like she wants to just annihilate the entirety of the human race. But I think canonically, although I might be mistaken about this because they retcon shit all the time, is that canonically I think she wants to revert them back into being like slaves and like bring the Ishnus back as like a hybrid of the humans and the Ishnus, because her boyfriend is technically being recreated forever, and then she's trying to be like removed from the machine and brought back into reality by taking over the body of like another human. So essentially we make like a bunch of like human Ishnu hybrids that would be the new like main rulers of the world, and then all the normal humans would just be slaves. Which is an interesting plan. I don't know how well that would actually work, but it's an interesting plan for Assassin's Creed, Jesus. So there's that. Also, I always find this, like, weird, because essentially... So here's what's odd about it, right? Is that, like... And I think this is on purpose, because, like, kind of the plot of Assassin's Creed 3 is how the Templars are, like, inevitable. They're like, oh, the Templars are inevitable. No matter how much of your creed exists, we'll be in the woodworks no matter what, because we're not held by some ideological shit. We're birthed by results. This is how the world always ends up, essentially, is what their nonsense is. And, like, for a game franchise about Assassin's Creed, where, like, the whole point is that you play assassins to, like, envelop freedom within people, the fact that, like, the Templar... This game kind of ends by saying the Templars are correct, which always kind of sits weird with me, because essentially their entire thought process here is, like, Juno is just out for her own good, which, ironically enough, she wants to make all the humans slaves again, which means that she would want the Templars. So you'd figure she'd work with the Templars, but because she can only work with the Assassins, it makes more sense to trick them into doing what she wants, instead of, like, trying to get the other faction to already do the thing that they're doing anyways. So, like, it makes more sense to trick the other faction into working with her. It's pretty smart. Makes sense. Very Juno, right? That makes sense. I'm good with that. What ends up being weird about it is that when Minerva's like, here's what actually happens, almost all the humans die, but a few of you are good, and then you become, you know, a hero, and then a legend, and then a god, and then your words are used to kill people, like most gods, and everything reverts back into chaos, and a new religious order exists to uphold the law and order of the planet. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is that no matter what, the Templars win then. Like, if he lets the world end, the Templars win, and if he doesn't, then, like, the Templars still kind of win because everyone just becomes a slave to, like, order, which is the whole point of the Templars, is that they're just, like, there to construct order. Questionable order, but order nonetheless. I mean, what's a better way to enforce order than making it so everyone is forced to obey at all times, right? So, like, I think this is, like, one of the main reasons I don't think people really liked... It's not even that I don't think people liked Assassin's Creed because of the story, because I'm going to be honest with you, but at this point in time, I think so many people were so burned out on Assassin's Creed because they were releasing them every year, and the story was just getting worse and worse every year, that I think a lot of people were just, like, done before they even got to this point in the story. However, I feel like once you get to the end of this game, and the big reveal for the end of this game is just, oh yeah, by the way, the Templar win no matter what, and everything you want to do is bullshit. It's like, wait, but why? Keep in mind that they do end with Desmond being like, no, we're gonna fight Juno no matter what. Even if she does come out and her master plans, we'll find a way to stop her. And it's like, okay. So, like, it's fine, but it is just weird to me that they're like, the Templar Order is inevitable and will always happen, and thus are technically always going to be the default winners unless the assassins are there to just fuck it up, essentially. It will just always win by default. Seems incredibly nonsensical to me for an ending about, you know, it just feels weird to have an ending for the game about freedom to essentially end with, oh yeah, freedom happens, but freedom always reverts back into order. And the Templars are always going to be the ones on top of that, so good luck with that. It's like, okay, weird choice, but alright. I don't know, it just always seemed confusing narrative-wise that they went that route at the end. Other things to talk about that are important for this, and the big one that's the most important is Juno's here. So Desmond officially dies in the third game, along with any semblance of the modern-day storyline. This is essentially the end of Desmond Miles' story, kind of, sort of. It comes back much, much later in a totally different style of game, but that's for another time, and I don't think I'm ever even going to play them because I don't like them that much. But that's beside the point. This is the end of Desmond's story from, like, a he's alive point. At this point, he is dead as fuck. There is no more Desmond Miles, and he is not coming back. He is just dead. Which is good. You know, everyone likes a dead Desmond. No, I'm kidding. Him being dead, I don't think is really the problem, or that it really matters. It's just that when he dies, it, like, kills the modern-day storyline. Like, entirely. Like, they have nowhere to go from here. Like, 4 has it where they explain that Juno's lover, like, reincarnates every once, and he's trying to get Juno out of the machine, and that's the whole attempt in Assassin's Creed 4 at the end, is to get her out of the machine. But then it, like, fails, and she doesn't get out of the machine, so it's fine. That makes me, that gives me 2 questions. Like, number 1, if Desmond died and that was supposed to free her, why isn't she free? Like, why is she still in the machine? Doesn't make any sense. Unless that modern-day storyline happens before 3, but I know it doesn't, because Desmond is dead by that game. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. In the modern-day timeline, Desmond's dead, so this she'd already be free, so that wouldn't make any sense. So I don't know why she still needs to be... I guess they need to give her a body. Maybe she's free from the machine. That's probably what it is, right? This is probably that she's free from the machine, but she still needs a body, and that's like the whole point of 4, which is stupid for a bunch of reasons. But the other thing that is stupid is that outside of Assassin's Creed 4, which I think is the last time we see her in video game format, because we stop her plans, and then I don't think she's ever brought up again in any game, or like, she's not brought up in a way where she's like important or relevant to the plot. And the reason for that is that Assassin's Creed is a giant multimedia franchise by this point, with books, video games, board games, card games, movies, live-action movies, mangas, comic books, many novels, and comic books. And they decided in their infinite wisdom, hey, you know that very important storyline that we've been working on with Juno for the past, like, I don't know, 4-ish, 5-ish games? Yeah, what if we conclude all of that in a comic book? I shit you not, they really did this. They were like, what if Juno does escape, and she takes over, and then we need to have someone stop her, but everyone who could stop her is dead, so we'll just have Desmond's kid do it. So apparently at some point within all of these games happening, Desmond had a child that was never talked about or alluded to or brought up at any point in the games, because it was definitely some shit they made up later. Only so that Juno would have someone to stop her, because Desmond's already dead, so he can't stop her. So Desmond's kid, whose name I do not know because I do not fucking care, essentially throws a rebellion and then finds Juno and murders the shit out of her. I don't really know why he would have the capability of doing that, because I don't think he has any assassin training, but I also didn't read the comics, so we'll just assume he did have assassin training for narrative reasons. He murders the shit out of her, and then she's dead forever, and there's no reason to ever bring her up because her storyline is concluded, and she's dead, and there's nothing that can be done about it. And why they decided to cover all of that in a comic book instead of a video game is beyond me. It's just truly beyond me. And you figure when they eventually came back around to making, like, a main character for Assassin's Creed, my thought process was always like, oh, I guess they'll, like, bring Desmond's kid into the plot and then make him, like, the new main character. And then we had, like, a bunch of games where because I figured like they'll probably do that and then incorporate Juno into those and then kill her off in the video games, just so it's like a nice cohesive narrative in the game franchise that they built. You know, the game specifically first franchise that they built instead of the multimedia one. No, they never did that. They were like, how about fuck you and you can go fuck yourself. So everyone who is a fan of Assassin's Creed proceeded to go fuck themselves. And then the games got really bad. But, so, you know, we figure from a narrative standpoint, it would make sense that you would play as Desmond's kid and then work up to beating Juno and all that stuff. And we just never got any of that. Instead, they were like, here's a bunch of random one-off characters that mean nothing and are nameless, faceless voices that you play as that do jack shit. That's like all of Rogue and Black Flag, and I think even Unity is like that too, which is like, ooh. And I think it's the same. I don't know if Syndicate's the same or if they finally got the new girl. All I know is that when they changed the games to like open world RPGs for some godforsaken reason, they changed the main protagonist to like a consistent protagonist every time, a new female whose name I also don't remember because I couldn't give a shit. And then it follows her for a while, and then like, keep in mind I'm less familiar with these games, so I can't remember if she just decides. Either she dies and then decides to stay with Ghost Desmond Miles in the machine to try and find a solution to save the world, or maybe she just gets trapped in there with her consciousness and then decides to stick around and try and save the world. Either way, she doesn't exist physically anymore, I'm pretty sure, and only exists in like an astronomical plane inside the Animus, essentially, with Desmond, because that's what happens to Desmond. He exists forever as like a force ghost in the machine. Which, you know, what happens. The only thing kind of interesting about that, and I'll bring it up in here because I'm never going to play those newer games because they're too long and they make bad YouTube content, I think, is, I think it's Brotherhood? Yeah. So in Brotherhood, when he kills the girl who ends up being a traitor that they definitely, like, wrote themselves into a corner about, she specifically is like, you will save the world, you and another woman will be the next Adam and Eve, but it's not this woman, and then proceeds to stab her to death. So, essentially the new protagonist girl for the RPGs that teams up with Desmond to save the world essentially does become the new Eve, and she is like the one. So I do find it neat that they were able to wrap that much story back, like 4 or 5 games to like that one line is neat. But Jesus Christ, at a certain point I do feel like they forcing it. But yeah. This is it's still going. These credits are still going. These are long ass credits, which I'm not surprised because it's Assassin's Creed. I don't know for sure yet. I might fuse this episode into the other episode. So this might just be one, like, really long part, because there was, like, 2 seconds, there was, like, 2 minutes of cutscenes. I did have a lot to talk about, though, so, unsure. But, I don't know if there's going to be a cutscene after these credits. If there is, I will be back, and if there isn't, I guess that's it for this. So I'll see you guys in the next Assassin's Creed game, which will either be The Tyranny of King Washington, the DLC, which is loosely canon, and I'll explain that when we play it, which is the only reason I'm playing it, because I didn't want to play anything that wasn't canon, because it just felt like a waste of time. But this one is both canon and non-canon at the same time, so it's kind of unique and interesting, so we might play that next, or we might play Liberation next, because Liberation technically starts and ends in between this game. The start and end of this game. So technically Liberations happens first, before this game ends. And technically the Tyranny of King Washington happens after this game ends. So we might be playing Liberations first. Uncertain which. But I will make my decision and you'll know when it's uploaded. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next part. See you guys then. Peace. Epilogue. Dave's home port. 1784, I think. Okay. Well, it looks like there might be a little bit more game. Yeah. Okay. I guess we're gonna keep playing then. I mean, I got time. We got time. We may as well see. I don't know if this is actually like game or if this is just like nothing, but I'm very curious. I will say this is gonna be its own part now, though. It's just more game. Whoa. There's more than one. New York or Boston, I'm assuming? God, I hate this stupid zoom. That's a set marker. Come on. Fast travel, yes. Go on. Click, click, go, go. I'm not gonna lie, I'm legitimately curious. Hopefully this isn't just like some extra like bullshit that doesn't matter. Because that'd be really unfortunate. Ooh, okay. Actually, we're gonna have to pick this up in the next part. See you guys then. Peace.